Hello everyone, my name is Cyrus Kirby. I am a reviewer at Father Geek. There's one thing you should know, as a writer, I'm actually very bad at public speaking. I'm much better at actually writing out what I have to say, editing it about 1,000 times, and then publishing it. I would like to speak to you today on audience. Father Geek focuses on 3 distinct groups. We look at every single game with a child geek perspective, a parent geek perspective, and a gamer geek perspective. But before we launch into that, let's make sure what we're really talking about when we say audience. We're not talking who can play the game, right? My son right there learned how to play Risk at age 4, jumped to Access and Allies about 5 or 6, learned how to play Cthulhu in 10 minutes, the Cthulhu Wars, about 1. Okay, so that's not what we're talking about here. That's just training someone how to play a game. We're talking about target audience. Who are you making your game for? So at Father Geek, we very early on looked at trying to break it up into 3 distinct groups because it was a lot easier for us to look at a game and see who is it really being enjoyed by. So I just put it in front of a bunch of different people. Half the table would say, I enjoy it. Others say, no, I don't really understand anything other than half the table liked it. So with the child geeks, we broke that down and we said that was around the ages of 2 to about 16, 17 years old, because all the 18-year-olds we work with tell me that they're adults now. These individuals will look at a game, like play it, enjoy it, talk like Candyland, things like that, and then move on to something else. And we'll talk about what really triggers them in a moment. The parent geeks are just those that you think. These are individuals who may have children, various different ages, like to get together, but don't have a whole lot of time to play games. So they still very much want to enjoy the hobby, but don't necessarily know all the games that are out there or have the time to play the larger ones that would really necessarily draw them in. The gamer geeks are all the elitists you hate. They're the ones who say all the bad things about your games because, by God, they've been playing games since creation and they know what's right, and why aren't you listening to them? These individuals are probably the hardest to work with because they come to the table with so many assumptions right off the bat that it's very difficult to work through those to understand what they do or do not like from just that game's perspective. So using those 3 defined audiences, we have now been for 5 years, and I think we just published our 754th review with all these folks. We feel that we have a really good grasp on what it is that hooks on to a player when they first sit down. So we're talking now about the compelling elements, that which really bring in the player. Now, there are games out there that we could all probably nod our head and say, like, yeah, they're just absolutely horrible. I don't know why they sell. But they sell because they are compelling. Someone looks at it and goes, I don't know how to play that yet, but I cannot wait to get that. I want that. So they go ahead and buy it. Let's look at Monopoly, for example. Look at this game. It keeps selling and selling and selling and selling. If it was just the regular Monopoly game, it wouldn't keep selling. You know why it keeps selling? Because now you can buy Monopoly Madison. You can buy Monopoly Disneyland. You can buy Monopoly Star Wars, Monopoly Halo. It becomes compelling. I like that. I'm going to go ahead and buy it. So again, we're talking about target audience. Who are you selling to and why? For those of you who would like to or are in the process of designing games for the child geeks, this is probably the most rewarding group that you could possibly design for, and one of the most hardest. They're going to enjoy games that are easy to learn, that are not very time intensive, and have a whole lot of theme and narrative. They can put themselves into the game. It's a story. They're part of it. They're really enjoying it. Miniatures or bright colors, whatever that may be. But they're a very difficult target audience to actually grab because they don't have wallets. They will not be the ones buying your game. They are primarily right now taking all their information in from the television, from their friends that they see at school, and from what their parents go ahead and tell them. Walk down Target store, for example. See all the kids just looking up at the boxes. Say, I want that game, I want that game. They look at the box, it looks awesome, it's compelling, they want it. Mommy and Daddy, my Christmas is coming up, let's have it. Tough group to actually put anything in front of, but they're actually very easy to design to, because just think back now on what you were when a child. You like the colors, you like the dinosaurs, you like the racing. Very easy. Hard to get in front of as far as the target audience. Lucky for you, they're the parent geeks. Parent geeks are those individuals who love to play games, don't know a lot about it. They've long since been out of it. Maybe they played in college, maybe they played as a kid, but they right now don't know everything that's going on. So they may be kind of stuck in the whole, what I call the monopoly loop. Just going on and on. Oh, it's another version, let's go and grab it. But this group is looking for something with a little more teeth, a little more depth. They still want the ease of play that you can possibly imagine, because they don't want to sit there and read a book and then have to turn around and then read another book over and over again just to understand how to play the game. They want to know how to play it so they can sit down with their friends and they can have a good time. But they also need the game to be something that they can go ahead and just walk away from, because these parent geeks have the child geeks yelling and screaming in the next room. But lucky for you, the parent geeks are always looking for something they can do with their family. If you can find a way into the parent geek's heart, they will go ahead and buy that game, because they're immediately going to project into the future themselves with their family over a grassy hill, sunshine, playing your game. Because it's going to be something that they can raise their children with. I can't even begin to tell you how many times I've purchased games because I looked at it and say, in 5 years, it's going to be awesome teaching that to this kiddo. But I'm doing that from a parent geek perspective. I'm not looking like, I want to play this now. I'm looking at this and say, this is going on a shelf, so I can play this in 5 years with my son. If we just think about that for a minute, there's a great target group that you can go ahead and grab, because not only will you get them and their table time, but you'll also be able to grab them and their family time. So with their friends and with their family. And what do families do? Families talk to other families. Families share games. So suddenly, your game is moving and moving and moving. Got two games here, two game designers right here, and many game designers out here who have designed games that can sit with the family. Every time I have a family game that's been enjoyed by the family, I pass it to another family. They play it for a while. Then they pass it around. They pass it around. Eventually it comes back to me and I'm told, yeah, 2 other people bought the game. You guys didn't do anything. Design the game once. You let the families do all of the passing around. Because the parent geeks will go ahead and do that for you. Once you get into them, with their little click, they will go ahead and pass it around. All right, the hard ones. The Gamer Geeks. This group is very, very, very oversaturated with all the games that are available to them. There are so many games that always come out that we have folks that get together and they think this is the best game in the world. It gets out there and it's either elevated to such a level that we cannot possibly imagine how this game ever existed, because it's way too fantastic, and those that we just continually bash, it was a complete waste of time. I would not be surprised if there were a few game designers who just decided that they were no longer going to give it a try because they reached for the Gamer Geek group and it just wasn't accepted very well. These folks want to be pleased very, very much. More to the point, they want to love your game. They want to, because they become exceedingly dedicated to your game. They will play games, and they will buy them, and they'll just keep going. Every time I play a game with the Gamer Geek group, they're always telling me how it's like the other 400 games they played. Every game you put in front of them is going to be compared to every game they've ever played. That's why it's a hard group. They've already decided a long time ago what they do or do not like. But if you get into the Gamer Geek group, they are even faster to pass games around than the parent geeks. Parent geeks tend to be able to pass it around through word of mouth, Facebook, what else have you. We have this great way of communicating with Board Game Geek, where everyone has a voice and everyone's right. That's a fantastic way to go ahead and get your game shared out there like that. I've seen some folks where they have I believe they're called a designer's diary. Designer blogs? It's fantastic. Because you know who the target audience there is. It's the Gamer Geeks that are going. Parent geeks really aren't out there. There might be some. Most certainly. Child geeks aren't. It's the Gamer Geeks. They're looking at that. They want to know what you're doing. You open that up to them, they'll let you know what's going on. They're not shy. So given these three different groups and the different ways that you can get to them, how can we possibly design to such a diverse group? You could do it individually. You could design just for the child geeks, just for the parent geeks, and just for the gamer geeks. We talk about child geeks, we're talking about children's games, and that's about pretty much it for that group. If you want to design something for them, that's very limiting. If you want to do parent geeks, we're talking about family games and casual games. Also party games. They'd be very good for that group. But again, limiting. Want to do gamer geeks? That's everything with strategy, tactics, incredible depth of play, the ability to continue to be challenged and move on further and further and further. Those are difficult games to design. If you've got it in you to design that as your first game or second game or third game, by all means do. It's easier to design, actually, for 2 or 3 groups at a time. We have something that we refer to as the Father Geek seal of approval that is not given by me. It's when all of our testing groups, our child geeks, our parent geeks, and the gamer geeks, all vote after they play it and they say, I like this. I would play this again. And if all 3 of them do that, then they get something called this Father Geek seal of approval, which then does show to everyone that this was something that was enjoyed by all 3 of these groups. Buy one game, sit it down, I don't care who you put it down in front of, you're going to enjoy it. Goodbye. A good design. The people who designed these games, however, put in these elements that each one of those groups would like. Can't please them all. You have to reduce the level of difficulty, clearly, if you're going to have the child geeks. But you can't dumb it down to a point where no one likes it. And you have to make sure there's thematic and narrative in there as well, so the kids like it, and the parent geeks are just happy that everyone's getting along. So you can't very much design for these particular type of groups. And I encourage you, when you're actually looking at this and you're designing your own game, don't look at it from just a game mechanic type of way. It's like, I want to design a strategy game that's about moving cows from one side of the river to the left side of the river. I don't know what to do with that. Sure, it could be interesting. You already got something of a story there. You got to wrap it up, keep moving it over. Instead, look at it and say, like, I want to sit down and play this with a family. Who would be in that family? We got a mom who's probably going to be spending a whole lot of time taking care of the kids during the day, or maybe dad who's taking care of the kids all day, so they're going to be a little tired. So they're going to want us to play something casual. We're going to have some kids who are just want to do something fun with the parents, but not necessarily anything that is going to be overly complicated. And we're going to have an uncle come over, and he just loves playing games, but he doesn't want to play any kind of stupid family game. All right, well, now you got to take your 2 cows crossing the river and try to spread it out so everyone's happy with that. You can do it. I've seen many games do it. That's really all I have to say about audience. Again, it's based really just on observation. After having seen so many different players play so many different games, and a wide variety of games. So many games. I'm kind of sick of games. So think of another hobby, I wouldn't know what to do with myself with all the free time. Are there any questions?
How many of the, you said you had like 754 reviews, how many of them have gotten the seal, do you know?
Oh, I think we're up to, out of that, 36, 37 individuals. And that's all over the board. And I should note, and this is actually kind of a peek behind the Father Geek curtain, that we rotate players in and out. So it's never the same people out. Then we don't have to fall into that trap of, I already know what the players are going to do. Any other questions? All right. Well, good luck designing those games. I look forward to playing them. Thank you.